Hello and welcome everybody to the first podcast of the International Techies of the Codium Club at Andhra University. The International Techies at the Codium Club is a platform for international students to come and express their voices while achieving something in their particular domains. So as part of this, we planned a podcast, and today we have a guest who is also an international student who has spent about 4 years in Andhra University. It's my privilege to introduce to you Janvi Gupta. Janvi, if you can tell a little bit about yourself so that our audience can.
Hi, my name is Janvi Gupta. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently pursuing BTech in Computer Science degree in Andhra University. I'm currently in my final year and will be graduating soon.
So that's a nice start, Janvi. So let's start with, you came to AU in 2020? 21. So 2021 to 2025.
No,
so
21 to 2024.
So that's quite a period where Vizag as a city would have gone through some changes. Let's start with the city of Vizag before we move into the Andhra University. So what have you liked in Vizag as a city?
Liked as in the place is very welcoming. The people here are very sweet and helping. Something which I had to adjust here was the weather here, because it was very hot as compared to my country. Apart from that, I felt a lot of things were similar as of my country, because the tradition, the cultures, everything were similar here. So I didn't have to see much of the difference anyway. So yeah.
So since you spoke about the culture, traditions, all of that being very similar, okay, let's talk about something entirely different. What about the food in Vizag?
Food, it was really hard. I don't think I still managed to adjust with the food here, because the spices and everything are different here. And especially some of the foods, I don't think we are used to it. It's completely different South Indian food, and we respect the flavors and everything, but it's too different from how we eat.
That's very true, yeah. Something that even I found very difficult to adjust to, despite being from Sri Lanka, which is very close to South India.
Yeah.
So speaking about your college, right from first year, just run us through your memory lanes.
Okay, so initially I came here on February 3rd to 2021, and I had my classes going on from February 4th, because I was already late a bit. So the classes were very smooth and teachers would come in time, but then right after 1 month or something, we had elections going on. So we had online classes, and then there was a COVID break. So entire first year was online for me. So, but we gave our semester examinations, finals offline, and we gave like 2 semesters in, like in between 17 days. So it was very difficult for us. So, but we managed to come through it. And then from second year, it was offline classes. All the classes were on time. Some of the classes used to get cancelled. And at least we were lucky. We were a lot of international students in our class. We were around 20. So Telugu speaking was never a problem. They used to speak English and they used to teach as well. So yeah.
So since you spoke about Telugu as a language and the challenge of speaking this language, how did you manage working with the locals? Because quite a lot of the people, once you move out, maybe within the university premises, yes, English works. But if you go into the outskirts of the city or meet with people, vendors on the streets, it becomes a bit difficult. How did you manage with that?
I have only one word, that is broken English. We just managed to talk, and for me, I knew some of Hindi language. So whenever there was a chance to speak Hindi, I used to try to speak Hindi and understand, although my Hindi wasn't that good, but still I tried. And regarding trying to adjust, like, some words like how much, okay, kind of thing. So that's how it works. But living 4 years here, now at least, if you listen to them concentrately, I can understand what they are trying to talk. Maybe I can't reply in Telugu.
So I'll take you a little bit behind. So let's talk about your life in Nepal, like the school where you went to and what kind of background you came through. Because if I'm not wrong, you were into modeling in Nepal, and you also did win a few modeling contests. So talk us through that and tell us how different both this, when you compare your life in Nepal and life in Vizag, how different it is.
Okay, so one thing about Nepal is a very free, frank-minded country. I feel everyone has their own say to speak, and everyone is welcoming too, and you'll for sure enjoy there. starting with that. And for me, I did my schooling there, and I did actually modeling in my grade 12, I think. So the first modeling was in 2019. So I did it. It was a community pageant. I was invited through my relatives, and someone suggested my name, and that's how I was invited, and I did. But some funny part is that before doing modeling, I was a tomboy. I was completely tomboyish. So that made me go into, that was a turning phase for me, a different phase for me to turn. I didn't think that I would earn a position there or secure a position there, but I ended up being first runner-up. So yeah, it was a change. And coming to here, it was a drastic change because the dressing, the mentality, everything was different here. Here I found it somewhat conservative minds, and like going at certain time back to home or something like that. So such kind of thing I had to come across, which was a completely different thing. At home you go out, you come back, there's a certain time, and here it's a complete different thing.
That's very true. Yeah, the conservatism as you spoke.
Yeah.
So now coming back to conservatism, let's get back to college life again. I think we come across a lot of professors and our teachers who actually have this traditional pattern of thinking. Maybe very different from what we are used to. How did you manage to put together with such people? Because it's really important that we coexist well with them, and of course it's a very traditional university. Yeah. But so how did you put together, and what do you think the other international students who come here can do in order to get accustomed to this situation?
I feel, from my experience, I feel like Andhra University inside is a bit different world than outside, as in Vizag, because teachers here has a bit different mentality. They would welcome it. They will consider international student as a separate, and they'll understand that they are new here, and they'll adjust. They'll take time to adjust, and they'll help them up with that. Because for my experience, since first year, locals were supposed to wear their traditional clothes throughout, and for us they never forced us to wear anything. We were comfortable in our clothes and everything. So whoever international students decides to come to Andhra University, I don't think you will face a lot of problem as of outside in Andhra University, because they understand the fact that you are coming from outside and you have a different background coming from. So I don't think they'll have a problem to adjust.
Yeah, that's of course, yeah. They are a little bit more welcoming, and I do personally experience that as well. So moving further, it's 4 years, it's a very long period of time that you spent in this city and the state. So I'm pretty sure you did explore quite a bit of Andhra Pradesh during that time. So talk us about a few trips, or as you call it, explorations that you took.
Okay, yeah. Initially, when I came, first year, I literally didn't go anywhere because of the weather. I personally suffer from migraine, so it was very hard for me to cope up with the weather. So my sleep schedule was completely different. I used to sleep during day and wake up during night. So it was completely different for me. But from second year, I started bit exploring. So I went locally places here, and I found it really pretty. For traveling, I think if somebody wants to come and travel to Vizag, it's a very good place. And then recently I went on a trip to Araku and Banjangi Lambaskini. That was very good. Someone coming from a cold country and having such places to visit, it was really nice. It was really beautiful experience there. So yeah, that's
As you rightly pointed out, for you the transition from Nepal to Vizag is from an entirely cold country into a country that is extremely temperate, or a city that is extremely temperate for that matter. And let's talk a little bit about your academics here, because Andhra University is one of the universities that is known to be an academic powerhouse in the state. But at the same time, there's a lot of criticism that comes up when you speak about Andhra University. So what is your take on it? Because we do see people who don't understand the system, they criticize Andhra University and its academic system. But as someone who lived through this for 4 long years, I think you'll have a better say and a better perspective on this.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to say about international students especially, there is a big problem about communication and accent. Here, they are not used to such accent. Like every international student have different backgrounds coming from different countries, so they had problem understanding teachers. As for my experience, I'm at least better, because Nepal and India is kind of close. So for understanding and everything, it was kind of easier for me, better condition. But sometimes, some professors are very old, so they are completely from local background. So understanding them was completely difficult. But regarding criticism, I don't think it's like your adjustment. I feel how well you adjust anywhere. And sometimes if you have problem, if you go to them, I think they'll explain you better. And yeah, so communication and the accent was some problem I've noticed in 4 years. So I think if that goes better, then I think it will be.
As you rightly pointed out, the professor-student connection is something
Yeah.
that we all are trying to work on. And one of the reasons why the Codium Club is active is also to build that connection. And like you rightly pointed out, a lot of our professors are willing to help. So since you brought out that fact, just run us through a few professors who might have been, people who will actually leave a mark that would never, go away from your heart, the people who will remain in your heart. Because I'm pretty sure within the 4 years you've had plenty of them who've helped you through different phases.
So for me, one of the best professor I have come across, she actually taught us, I think 3 semester to 4, I'm confused. Her name is Professor Valli Kumari. She actually helped us. She never, I think not even a single time she would have spoken in Telugu, and even if she did, she translated into the English right after. And the way she taught, the way she helped each student, I think a professor should be that way. Like she, resembles the actual professor character or something, I would say, because she has helped students. And I've seen not just our class, I think a lot of classes, maybe you too, if you have come across her, she is very good.
Yeah. So that's in fact, yeah. And also now let's move from professors to your friends, because your friends play a huge part, both local friends and international friends. I'm pretty sure you made a lot of friends both internationally and locally. And at the initial stages of our conversation, you spoke about the diversity in your class, about 20 different international students. So talk us through, living with so many different kinds of people. AU has about 1,600 students, if I'm standing correct, international students that is.
1,058, I think, yeah.
1,058, so yeah, you have the accurate numbers.
I'm not sure.
So just how did it feel living with people from across different continents and different parts of the world, different cultures? How did you find it?
Okay, so I would like to point out this point. Out of every batches, every department, I think our department, our batch in computer science only was kind of a bit unlucky in the beginning, because our first semester we were divided. We weren't with the local students. 20 students, international students, first semester was different class and remaining local students were different. So we didn't initially, when you come to a new place, initial time is the time where you like to talk to new people or where you try to engage, right? And after a while they have their own groups, we have our own groups, something like that. So initially when we came, we had different classes. So we more interacted among ourselves, they more interacted among themselves. So when the classes were combined, so there was not a lot of communication going. Although it was a trial from both the sides, we tried, but there wasn't a lot of communication going on between international student and local student. But whenever we needed any help, whenever we reached out to them, they never failed to help us. They always helped us. But regarding like friendship or conversation, I think our batch suffered a bit. But I have noticed in other batches, in other departments in the same batch I was in, they have really good, bonding with local students.
In fact, that is very true. And another thing that I've noticed in Andhra University is that there is also a certain age gap between the international students in a particular class and the local students. I don't know whether you personally face that same issue, because to be very honest, I am very older compared to most of my peers in my class.
Yeah.
So that age gap brings about some difference in thinking patterns and all of that. Managing through this, how did you navigate, if you did face that problem, how did you navigate through that?
Honestly, I didn't really face a problem because the age gap between me, mostly it's international students who are older. Local students are mostly coming at the correct ages, like 17, 18, they enter the college at that time. And us international students have age differences, like some of them were doing dual degrees, some of them were like 30, some of them were 25. Even in my class, my batchmates, some of them are 30, some of them are 25, 23. So they started with that time. But okay, there is a level where the maturity comes in, But I don't think anyone faced issue regarding age gap, because in the end we were all in the same room and studying same thing. So according to that, I don't think there was any difference or something felt.
So another thing that India is a very different country when it comes to academic competitiveness, as opposed to be it Nepal or any other country in the world. So how did you fit in this kind of system where the students are a little bit more competitive than what you might have been used to back home? So how did you get into this system?
Okay, so I had already planned that I'm coming to India. So I joined CBSE board, which is an Indian board. So to get used to this kind of competitive examination and everything, I already joined. So being in Nepal, I didn't join Nepal board. I joined an Indian board, which is a CBSE board from Delhi, I think. So we have schools having Indian boards. So I joined that board. So it was kind of easy transition for me to cope up with. But I've noticed a lot of international students facing a lot of issues initially, because for example, writing papers. Here we have to fill like 32 papers. For them it was like 2 to 3 papers examination. So for them that was a drastic change I saw.
So, and also speaking about Nepalis in AU, I think we have a lot of diversity amongst them as well. People from the hills, the people from the terrain region and so on, and from all parts of Nepal, people from Kathmandu to Birganj and so on and so forth. So, where is which city of Nepal do you
I'm from Kathmandu, capital city.
Kathmandu itself. So, I think Kathmandu is a very liberal city, and some of these Nepali cities are also as conservative as Vizag or maybe even more.
Yeah.
So, it gives a nice balance when you get these kind of people also coming. How did such conversations go forth? Because you have to be, especially now that you're a fourth year, I think when the last batch came in, you all were the seniors where they had to look up to and ask for help and all that. But then the backgrounds that you all come from are entirely different from one another.
Yeah.
So how did you all manage working with such people?
One thing you brought up yourself, that even here, there in Nepal, there are conservative minds. And even here, there are, like only Vizag is not a part of India, there are a lot of cities and states. So yeah, so when my people came here, when they asked for suggestion or anything, we just said that there's like every place you visit, anywhere in the world, you'll find new places, new stuffs, new things to learn, so it will take time to adjust for sure. So you need to cope up, and one thing I have noticed that you really need to be strong. If you are not strong mentally, physically and emotionally, because you are coming alone, some of them are coming for the first time, like going out of the house for the first time. So dealing with such situation, there might be mental breakdowns, there might be a point where you are facing issues academically, there is a point where you are facing issues emotionally, and there might be no one to help. So yeah, and regarding this conservative or something, I don't think leaving behind, everybody comes with a new aspect, and so adjusting it, like being even conservative, I think it's a different thing. Somewhere conservativeness is in a different level, somewhere it's in a different level. So yeah, those kind of thing, I think they adjusted by themselves. But regarding in common, they had to be strong enough. You have to be strong enough to stay in Vizag at least.
And like you rightly pointed out, mental health issues is another concern for a lot of international students, because we live away from our parents. I myself personally experienced this. It's been only 2 years for me. So I'm not sure whether you also had, but most likely you did, at least in the first few days of your college career. How did you navigate through that? Because that's also one of the challenges, especially right at the beginning, if you are going through.
I think that was the most biggest challenge I faced. When I came here, I felt like, there wouldn't be any change. Nepal, India is common, I won't face. But when I did come, like there were a lot of things. At least I think if you come to new country, new place, there will be like a series of breakdowns when you come. Even though you are well adjusted, there will be a point where you will feel homesick. There will be a point where someone is going to comment on you, or some academic pressure or something, because the way you are studying back home might not be same here. So the pressure is different and everything. So dealing with that, you need to be strong, because at home you can go and talk to your parents, or be at home at least. You will have the homely feeling. But here you have to stay in hostel, or you're living outside. So expecting someone and relying on someone is the worst thing you can do, because no one is going to be there. You need to at least have that audacity to stand alone and try to cope up with things.
That is, of course, very true. And yeah, it's all about us being able to come out of that shell, as you rightly pointed out. Now, this may sound funny. One of the challenges that I think South Asian students in particular we face in Andhra Pradesh, something I myself experienced, I think even the Nepali students do, is that we are mistaken for being Indians.
Yeah.
That is another challenge. So,
Yeah.
any similar experiences that you've had where you were mistaken for an Indian, and
Yeah.
maybe it might have worked in a positive way or a negative way, you never know. It does in some occasions. So,
Like, honestly, not much of the time, but yes, I have faced and surprisingly not just with the local students, even international student mistakes us as Indians, not just local students. And mostly I have been mistaken as North Indian, not South Indian. Especially South Indian, I have never been mistaken. I've only been mistaken as North Indian, which kind of makes sense because North Indian and Nepali people kind of look same. Nepali people actually are mixed Chinese, Indian faces and Nepali faces, so facing such situation wasn't surprising, but it was really funny. Yeah.
it's funny because suddenly when somebody talks to you in either Telugu or Hindi, it gets a bit,
Yeah.
if you're not fluent in Hindi, I think in your case you did speak Hindi.
Not really. I was really bad with it. I used to understand everything, but while speaking, I was very bad. I just learned throughout. I'm still not good. I'll be honest. I'm still not good, but I'm better.
Speaking of languages, what's your mother tongue, by the way?
My mother tongue would be Mathli.
Actually, so Andhra Pradesh also we see people speak Hindi, Urdu, Telugu, and some people, even Tamil, I've heard people speak Tamil. So have you learned any of these South Indian languages over 4 years?
I didn't. I tried to learn some basic words like hi, hello, how are you, or something like that. But learning one thing about Telugu language, especially, I don't know about other. It's too difficult to learn. So yeah, and as I told you, there were very less interaction with local students as for our class, so it was difficult to learn local.
Now, one thing at Andhra University is that a lot of students are focused on their grades.
Yeah.
So they run behind their first semester, then 4 months pass on second, and so on and progress, and then finally comes the project. And I think you are doing a project right now, you are in that stage. So you've seen it through all. So how was that pressure and how did you manage to navigate? Because that's something that puts a lot of additional pressure on the students. Because you see your peers working extremely hard for their grades. And when you have to explain it maybe back home to your parents, it gets a lot complicated.
Yeah.
So how did you put through with that, and how did your parents react to your situations or your grades?
Okay, when I came initially, I told you that it was kind of not so big transition for me, but the pressure was real, honestly, because like one thing about India is everybody runs behind grades. Every single person runs behind grades. So coming to a position like at home, you have a certain mind that okay, you have to get good grades and everything. You have to work hard. You have certain period of time. Here, from the first day, they are just studying. So it was a pressure, and I personally felt that I'll be left behind. But I somehow managed, and I passed throughout 4 years, and I'm happily cleared. But yeah, the pressure each time, especially those 1 week before the examination and the during examination, because AU doesn't give you break during examination. It's one after another. So that pressure was really, like, you really need to be calm and then confident about yourself and then write the examinations.
So you spoke about working hard 1 week before an exam. I think it's a very popular concept. In AU language, if I have to say it, it's one night batting, they call it.
Yes.
So that's a night before an exam where people cram through and study a lot and then face their exam. So have you had such situations? Did you also get used to this one night batting concept, or did you go ahead with the...
Some of the subject, yes, I did. I'll be honest. There was some of the subject where I was clueless and I did like one day batting, as you said, and I scored well only. So I feel like one thing about AU is I feel like passing is not difficult. If you even study for one night, you'll pass for sure. Getting good grades is the challenge. So for getting good grades, you need to start earlier for sure. doing one day batting and something can only make you pass or have a better grades. That's it. So yeah, of course I did.
So we've indeed discussed plenty of wide subjects, not limited to just academics, food or anything. So apart from AU and your life, I also raised this question about modeling. So you said you had to take a break from modeling once you came into Andhra University. So are you planning on going forward in the future now that you're graduating out of the college and you'll be leaving the college very soon? Are you planning on continuing a career in modeling?
When I came here, I actually got offers for modeling, photo shoots and many other, but it was my decision not to do so. Actually, I feel like I took break for entire life, because once I entered there, wherever you go, there are a lot of consequences, there are a lot of politics and everything going on. So when I entered, I wasn't aware of it, but once I entered, I got to know a lot of things. So yeah, once I came here, my main focus was to study, to finish engineering completely. So when I got those offers, I rejected all of them and I didn't want to do, and I don't think I'll continue further. I'll rather work. And if in future, if I feel again, maybe, I'm not sure.
So you're not putting a complete full stop, but with a comma. So
yeah.
It's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so as you said, you spoke about politics in the industries, and now that you're heading out of the college, I think you're getting into a world that is as competitive as you yourself mentioned, and you'll have to go through all these politics and all that.
Yeah.
So how's your preparation for that?
I feel like AU has taught me a lot of things regarding people, friends, or professionals. I think AU will teach you a lot. Something AU has helped each student is to grow them and be mature, I think. Because I've seen all the students coming immature with some other thoughts, but by the end, if you see students and if you talk to them, you'll feel like you're talking to two different persons, the time they arrive and the time they leave. So I think AU has already helped me a lot to deal with these real life problems, and rest, it's just that me being strong and trying to prepare how to deal with stuff.
So now, as a junior of yours, and there are plenty of other juniors who will be coming in the coming years also, and there are plenty of others who are already on campus. So if I ask you to sum up your entire college journey of 4 years at Andhra University, like what would you tell them? What is, in a gist? So what are your advices to people who are coming into this college, and international students in particular? Not just about surviving here, making their mark, and of course leaving AU as people who leave a mark at Andhra University. So what should they do?
Starting with the life at AU is like a roller coaster. Like you go up and down and up and down. As for me, I feel like you just go through it. Initially, you'll face a lot of situations, a lot of things, but you need to be strong, as I told earlier, and you need to cope up with things. And I believe, as me being 4 years student here already, I think anyone who comes here, any international student, I think you go through it, you'll pass through it, just come up with a positive mind. And here already, comparing to before, there are a lot of international students. So helping, if not local student, then you already have a lot of international to help you. So they'll help each other, and I think now it's better. Students are not, when they are coming also, they are feeling kind of homely, because from each country there are a lot of students already. So yeah.
So of course this conversation had flown all the way from your life in Nepal all the way up to your 4 years in Andhra University.
Yeah.
So what's in life for Janvi 2024 and beyond? What do you think? What lies ahead for you?
I don't know. I'm just like, I just see myself somewhere standing where I want to be. I'm just working hard to reach there. So yeah, I just don't have like that picture.
So yeah, before I conclude, I have one last question for you, Janvi. That is, what do you think Andhra University as a university, and also student platforms like Codium, and of course we have an incredible support system. So what can we do different as a university and the university stakeholders, students, or what else and what not? What can we do different so that the international student experience in AU will become very different from what it is now? Can be better? What do you think are the good things or the right things that we can do as a university?
Few suggestions I would like to give is, when you go to a new place, the first thing you do is YouTube or Google. But when I came here, there was literally nothing about AU. So I didn't have anything, how is the university, how is what. So I feel like there should be a lot of college tour or department tour videos for international student to know how is college and everything. And I believe in first year when there is orientation going on and everything, there should be one college tour physical, like showing departments and everything, because when we came we were lost. We didn't know what was where with what was where, and then communication was a problem with the buyers here for autos and everything, so it was a very difficult for us. So such things should be changed for international students, I'm saying especially. And there are a lot of as for I heard, there are a lot of departments, they have less internationals in class, so the teachers tend to speak Telugu. So teachers should also understand and start speaking English is what I feel. And there should be transportation, which I feel, because a lot of international students had to get their own transportation. So yeah, I think that would be something which can be done better.
So yeah, thanks a lot, Janvi. And if you have anything else that you want to share with our audience, we have students who are into technology, and of course international students who are going to watch our video on the Codium channel. So if there's anything that you want to share with them.
Not really, like you just come here, live your life, you'll enjoy, you'll have friends and everything. And now there is AHUB. Earlier it wasn't there. Now there is AHUB helping students and getting to touch with technology. They are conducting workshops and everything, so it will help all the students now. So a lot of things has already changed, and I see better coming. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Janvi, and also, as Janvi rightly pointed out, a very huge thank you to the Andhra University Incubation Council, or the AHUB, for sponsoring the space and the venue, and of course the Codium Club for putting together these kind of events to bring about international student perspectives into this dialogue, and of course the college management. So thank you very much. Hoping to meet you with yet another show. So thanks a lot, Janvi. It was my privilege having you on the show.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.